Mary Carolyn Richards recently wrote, one of the truths of our time is a hunger deep within people all over the planet for coming into relationship with each other. You know, we live in this modern society that sometimes feels like it pulls us apart and pulls us away from one another rather than bringing us together. And so there's a craving for getting back to that. Remember, you know, in the song he talks about neighbors and neighborhoods. Remember how we used to be in a neighborhood and you kind of knew all the people in the neighborhood and the people knew all the kids in the neighborhood, and then if you were a kid you couldn't get away with the whole heck of a lot, much to my chagrin. Somebody was always recording on me. I always kind of had a problem with that. But this modern life that we live, with all of its advantages and wonders, it tends to create lifestyles of separation often. And so we sometimes feel like we're out there on a skinny limb all by ourselves. And we forget who we truly are, and we forget our connection and our interconnectedness with one another and with all the life on this planet. And so we long to be a part of and be connected with something that is larger than our little individual selves. We want to be part of something bigger. And so this call to connection in community holds with it a promise of dissolving that painful illusion of separation and alienation. That's the beauty of community, and that's why it still exists, and that's why it's attractive to people, because we can realize that we really aren't alone, and that we really are in this with other people. And it holds also that idea of community, the possibility of satisfying that longing to belong and to make a difference. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if once we left the planet, somebody knew we were ever even here? You know, that we left our legacy, that we left our mark, that we did something that lived beyond our flesh and bones. Now, Suncoast Center for Spiritual Living can either be where you go to church, or it can be your spiritual community. It can be your spiritual home, if you will. You can show up for services, or you can invest yourself in service by getting involved and by connecting in loving and caring relationships with one another, and by creating something together that no one of us could ever create alone. So you got to ask yourself, how important is it? How important is it to have people in my life who love and support me? Is that important to you? How important is it to have people in my life who empower and inspire me to live beyond where I'm living right now? Is that important? Yeah, sure. It's a lot easier to do with that kind of support than to try to do it all on your own. Now, you know, Suncoast can be where you become known, and your ideas and your passions and your intentions become known, and you can know others. It's kind of like Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Minus the beer. Right, you guys, we don't have beer back there, right? Maybe we should start. For those of you who are still needing that kind of support. You know, my only regret about getting sober 34 years ago, they have come out with so many things since then. I'm just stunned. How could they, I mean, where did they come up with this stuff? Oh well, I'll just have to take other people's word for it, but it's something, I don't know. So anyway, Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Yay! What a wonderful thing to walk into a place like that. And the good news about the lack of beer is you actually remember it afterwards. You know, we love to make room for each person to be who they truly are, to expose themselves, if you will, to express themselves fully, to be celebrated for who each of us is and all the gifts that we bring to community. What a wonderful thing. What a great feeling that is, to be seen and known and recognized and appreciated. You know, one of our deepest yearnings in this human life, in this human experience, is to be truly seen and known. To be seen and known for who we really are, and to be connected and accepted for that. Go, wow, I'm glad you're here. You're a cool person. Hey, can I hang with you? I mean, how gratifying is that? You know, some of us didn't get that all the way coming up. It's never too late. Never too late to have that happen. You know, how wonderful to have a place where it's safe for us to explore and to be and to share who we truly are, to share that authenticity of who we are, and have that sense of coming home, not only to a place and to people, but coming home to ourselves. You know, some of us have abandoned ourselves long ago. Isn't it nice to come home and go, wow, hey, can I be your friend? Wouldn't it be cool to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd like to be your friend? The first time I ever did that, wow, I was amazed at how powerful that felt. To say, you know, I'd hang with you. Because there was a good portion of my life I was running from me. But to be able to look in the mirror and say, wow, I'd hang with you. And part of what did that for me was community. People saw in me what I couldn't see in myself. You know, sometimes we need that. You know, in community, we have, and particularly spiritual community, we have permission to risk and to fail and to change and to succeed and to thrive and to be empowered with a wealth of wisdom and love and support from all the folks all around. How cool is that? You can know that you can fall down 7 times and get up 8 because somebody's going to catch you. What a great feeling. Starhawk wrote this. Somewhere there are people to whom we speak without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our power. Community means strength that joins our strength to the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends. Some place where we can be free. That gives me chills to think of being in a place like that. We can be that. We already are in many respects. We can be even more of that. What a great thing. I mean, isn't it great when you walk in the door and people are like, hey! You know? That's kind of cool. My vision for Suncoast, this is my mini vision. We're going to work together on a much bigger, more clear vision. But my mini vision, my personal vision for Suncoast is of a community whose purpose is love and whose path is service and whose promise is that we remember who we've come here to be, each of us and all of us together. Where your talents and your gifts meet the needs of the community and the world, that is where your purpose lies, and that's where Spirit wants you to be. Paraphrase from Joseph Campbell. I think that's so true. We don't have to be miserable to be useful. In fact, we're more useful when we're living our passion and our purpose. We become way bigger than we think we are when we live into that authenticity. Our lives are a sacred call to express who we have come here to be in this lifetime, on this planet, in this way. And our lives are also a communal call to love and empower one another, so that not just a few of us express fully, but all of us express fully. Imagine a world where everyone is feeling fully self-expressed. My own suspicion is that we would have less violence in a world where people felt fully self-expressed. The opportunity to get in touch with the authenticity of their being, the spirit within themselves, and to fully not only experience it, but express it in their own unique and vibrant way. That's a world that begins to work. You know, we work individually and we work collectively in community to provide opportunities for each of us to learn and to love and to leave a legacy. To leave the legacy of what it is that is our vision and our mission here at Suncoast, to awaken Tampa Bay to its spiritual magnificence and to create a world that works for everyone. That's the learning. How do we do that? One of the ways we do it is we love. And we do the work in consciousness, deep from within. So the work is done from inside out. And the legacy we leave is a powerfully awake Tampa Bay, which sets ripples in motion that helps to create that world that works for everyone. But how do we reclaim a sense of belonging in a world that seems torn at the center and frayed at the edges? How do we do that? You know, how do we move from dependence to independence to the greater still interdependence? realizing our interconnectedness, and as we're interdependent, we are so much more than we are independent or dependent. You know, if I'm separate, here's the good side to separate. It's not real complicated. It's messy as the dickens, but it is not real complicated. So yeah, you lose the complications, but guess what? You also lose the connection and the sense of belonging. And you're out there, not on a skinny limb by yourself, you're not even on a tether, you're just floating. And it's a little scary, because you ain't got a parachute either. So if we belong to community, if we belong to each other, then we're beginning to work in that interdependent way. That way that says that we understand that we are all interconnected, that there is one whole and we are a part of it, connected to all of the other parts. We're linked. Our words, our decisions, and our actions impact one another. So it'd be good if we were really conscious and made conscious, wise choices about how we speak and act and think and behave, so that the impact we make is powerful and positive. That's good, I like these. Powerful and positive. Say that. It's good. Powerful and positive. I love the pop. Yeah. The champagne of spirit. You know, but how do we balance? How do we balance that individual freedom with the belonging and the connection? You know, so that it's not an either or, but it's a both and. And I think that's absolutely possible. In fact, I'm going to talk about that a little more next week. Carolyn Schaefer and Kristen Anderson are experts on creating community, all sorts of different kinds of community in different ways and shapes and forms. But here's something that they said very interesting, I think, about spiritual community. He said that spiritual community is a unified, dynamic whole that evolves as a group of people, participate in common spiritual practices, serve and rely upon one another, make decisions and create together, identify themselves as part of a larger common unity, and commit themselves for the long term to their own, one another's, and the group's spiritual deepening and well-being. Kind of cool, huh? So the way we do it is in consciousness, it's in practice, it's in learning new habits and allowing those to be fully embodied and expressed. You know, it may be a new way of thinking and being for some of us to get conscious about how we create that kind of community where there is the togetherness, but nobody loses anything by giving to the whole. In fact, we can only gain. And that kind of community really does end up with tremendous benefits for each of us and for all of us as a whole. You know, it's been proven scientifically that belonging and connection is basic to the health and well-being of people. There's a health expert. Am I right or am I right?
You are right.
I am right. There you go. I love it. So yeah, I mean, people who are involved in community and have those connections and that sense of belonging actually are healthier. And they're more vibrant in whatever activities they're engaged in life. The fullness of our true self, our authentic self, the who we've come here to be, shows up best in the community of others. You know, our highest and best isn't necessarily done sitting in our room alone. It's that interconnection with other people that brings out the best in us. You know, individuality and creativity flourish in service to community. We learned that we're more creative in things that we didn't even know we were creative in. We have opportunities to experiment and explore and try new things and become that creative individual that adds to the creative community. You know, we're in the midst of a cornucopia of skills and abilities and talents and passions. And when we bring that all together in community, every single one of us wins. We all benefit from it. How cool is that? Hey, if I'm not so good at this, Jennifer is. And man, when we work together, we're a powerhouse, right? And guess what? I might actually learn to get better at the stuff she's already good at. She might learn to get better at the stuff I'm already good at. How cool is that? We can only benefit from bringing all of that together. And we start to shift from I standing alone to we standing together. So our spiritual essences are linked in this community through what is highest and best in each one of us. That's what's beautiful about this. We bring our highest and best, and sometimes we're in the process of even discovering it for ourselves. And that's a powerful revelation. Whoa! When I learn about me, you know, who's your favorite Sunday? Me? No, me, yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, we all like to know a little bit more about ourselves, to discover something wonderful about ourselves. What a great thing. And to discover something wonderful about somebody else. It's always really cool when people finally get together in community, when you're not sitting here looking up front, but you're talking with one another. And we're going to look at some opportunities to do more of that, where you're interacting with one another. Kind of like at the picnic, we got to interact with one another. We get to as we interact with one another, we discover things about the people in this room that we had no idea. We're like, wow. You know, it's a big wow. I love being wow. How cool is that? And every single one of you has a powerful wow in you. You do. It's time we revealed it, you know? It's time we take off the layers of varnish and say, wow, this is me. What do y'all think? And your response would be, wow. Right? You know, as we come together in community, part of the benefit is that we learn to be more gentle and more generous with one another, and then we can take that out there beyond the community. That we learn to love a little bit more unconditionally, and we can take that out to the greater community. We start to feel this sense of belonging, that we are an essential part of the whole tapestry. You know, community is a tapestry, and every single fiber, every weave of the fiber is necessary. If one's missing, it's not complete, it's not whole. So we stand as one. It's one prayer, one voice, one heart, called community. You know, it's essential in community that we see and listen and we know and we recognize each other, regardless of what our particular skills, talents, and abilities are, regardless of how visible or not visible we are. Every single one of us is necessary to the whole. We belong. We belong here. If we found this place, if we're here, we belong here. This is no accident. It's no accident. Our presence and our participation is integral to the whole fabric of community. Each one of us being fully present, fully here. We're called to bring our full energy and our attention and our passion and our caring to this place, to these people, to what it is that we're creating together here. Caring enough to bring forth the best in one another. In some cases, we have to drag it out. Start dragging. Reel it in. Bring it out in one another. Caring in community is essential, but guess what? You know, or caring in any kind of relationship. You know, if you're relating to anyone, one-on-one or one-on-many or many-on-many or whatever, as long as you're not alone, caring is essential in relationship and in community. Well, actually, it's important to care even if you're by yourself. That's why it requires a mirror. Hey, I care about you. Wow. But it's essential that we care, but guess what? It's a little risky too. Caring can feel a little bit risky because it requires that we open our hearts and we listen and we tell the truth to each other. That we allow ourselves to take the risk of being vulnerable to rejection or to failure or to not necessarily looking good, vulnerable enough to put our authentic self fully out there with no masks, no varnish, no cover-up, but to be fully there. So caring brings with it a risk, but it brings with it way more in benefits and bounty. And one of the ways that I have to tell you, we had a meeting after service last week with the Unbroken Connection Circle, the Unbroken Circle of Connection and Caring here in this community. And I really want to thank Donna and Jody and Susan for bringing that forth and taking the lead on that. It's about caring for one another. It is about caring for one another. They said that, you know, they've been working on this for a while. They said they expected maybe 5 people might show up and be interested. And what do we have, 15 people? 18 people. 18 people! People, that's powerful and amazing. That is so way cool. And the things that'll be unfolding, that are coming in store with all of that, wow. That appears to be the word for the day. Wow. Say that with me. It feels good. Wow. And I mean, what a wonderful thing. So listen up. You're going to be hearing more and more about this. And anyone can participate. There are all kinds of levels of participation and expertise and opportunities for training and learning. And so it's really going to be cool. So stay tuned and listen for that. Sometimes it's just simply the act of witnessing another person moving through the transitions of their lives. It's taking a hand, making eye contact, sitting and listening. Witnessing is about recognition of a human being without judgment. It's about listening without trying to fix, but to just be with, to be present with. Carol Kamen and Jody Gold said this: to know with any certainty that we belong, we have to be recognized, acknowledged, given some form of feedback that says to us, yes, you are valued here. I see your struggles. I see your accomplishments, your fears, your pain. I see who you are. I see what you have experienced in life. It's important and powerful to be seen and known and recognized and appreciated and valued. Support and recognition and appreciation confirm to us that we belong and that we have worth. Not net worth, but self-worth. That we have worth. That kind of atmosphere of recognition and appreciation helps us to understand that we matter and that we make a difference, and the planet wouldn't be what it is without us. It helps us to see and to hear and to know ourselves and each other better when we have that kind of atmosphere. We truly see and express who we are and the gifts that we have to give far better in that sense of recognition and appreciation and value. We're valued for who we are and what we bring to community to create it and make it even more powerful and vibrant. When we're acknowledged and we're affirmed, we experience greater unconditional love and acceptance. And when we experience that, we become even more fabulous than we already are, because we are willing to take greater risks. Because now we're getting in touch with who we are, that we are each an emanation of the one Spirit, and there's nothing more powerful than that. We all need to receive that kind of recognition, appreciation, and value, and we all need to give it. There's a power in giving it as well. You know how it is. When you receive a gift, that's pretty fabulous. But when you give one, there's a whole different energy that's also fabulous. The best Christmas I ever had was the first Christmas that I actually went and bought and paid for and picked out gifts for my family and myself. The first year I was able to do that, it was way more better than any of the gifts I got. I don't even remember what I got, but I do remember what I gave, and they were horrible. But I was so excited, and I was thrilled. I thought, oh, these are the best gifts ever given to anyone. They were so, really. I obviously had a wonderful family because they hid it well until I was old enough to figure it out for myself. Oh my God. Yeah, so, but the feeling I had of being able to give, oh wow, way more powerful than receiving even. So recognition, that idea of giving recognition and giving that kind of support and appreciation and value, it reflects back to us. Recognition reflects back to us that our life has meaning and purpose. And it's a validation of our existence and of our ability to make a difference, that we do make a difference. Somebody who just comes and hugs you and says, wow, I'm so glad that you're here, we've made a difference in that person's life where they would have never said it. It doesn't take a big magnanimous thing. Often making a difference is just a tiny little thing. It can be a smile, a hug, or just a hello. It can be very simple. Frederick and Marianne Broussard wrote this about community. The creation of community reflects a natural and very powerful urge to connect, to do good, and to change the world. And we are strong when we stand and work together. Community is created and renewed when individuals act in love and serve each other. The sharing of gifts takes many forms in community. Spiritual practice of love builds community, as do kindness and gratitude and prayer. The spiritual practices of forgiveness, justice, openness, and compassion extend community into powerful territory. The most lasting ways to build community are by listening and by making commitments to each other. That's powerful, my friends, and it's doable, and it's something that will bind us together more perfectly and expand us and deepen us in ways that we have yet to experience, but that I know we can and will. So blessings on your journey of belonging and recognition in this community. Begin by involving yourself and by acknowledging one another. Acknowledge one another, and so it is. Amen.